And boom!
Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do tech good.
Boom. Yeah. And today we are with Rob Harr. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you joining us, and on a very special occasion, the 10-year anniversary of Front End Design Conference.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be here. I had a chance to be here a couple of years ago, and when Gene reached out to me, a couple months ago and said, "Hey, would you like to come back for the 10-year anniversary?" And I'm like, "Well, absolutely." Like, this has been one of my favorite events over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people got their start here. A lot of people find amazing inspiration from this conference every year. It's a big piece of our community, and we're super happy that Dan had the idea to put this together way back in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Dan's good people.
Yeah, Dan is good people. Love you, Dan. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I run a studio called Sparkbox.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, we've been around this conference for a while.
But if you only had a shirt to show us what that...
I don't know what the logo looks like. I can't draw it, so I have to wear the shirt.
Yeah.
There. But I run Sparkbox with my business partner Ben Callahan, who also has been to this conference several times and
he's been on the show as well. We'll link to that.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes.
And we do web stuff. I mean, we started out like most people, as we thought we were a full service agency 10 years ago, and we learned over the course of 2 that we were a web studio, and that's really what we did. And so we kind of got rid of everything else, and we've been doing that ever since. And
yeah, I really love when I first came across you, it was actually your live redesign of your website. Oh. When you did those posts, and I love how you did that. Yeah. They did this awesome thing, and we'll link to that as well, where they live blogged kind of about how they're updating their site, and their articles they had a really nice concept of a quick read versus the full long form, which was. I was like, hey, that's a really good idea. So just things like that. And then I believe you also recently, last year, you did code.
A couple of 3 years ago, we did CodePen.
Wow, that long. I feel like it was more recent
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun working with Chris. And
I
think last year we did the Sneak microsite. If you guys know what Sneak is, it does it scans your GitHub repo looking for security vulnerabilities and like all of your open source dependency tree.
Love that.
And Tim Cadillac put together a giant study about what the vulnerabilities were and all of those kind of things and what the state of open source security was. And we worked with them to do like a report site that turned out pretty well.
It's called Sneak?
Sneak. Yeah. SYNK. Link to that because I am bad at spelling.
Brian will get that.
But and what is its main purpose? Just like do the Googles. A little bit better.
What does it do? It looks at your repository, looks at your code dependency trees for known security vulnerabilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's super smart.
I feel like I've heard of that, but we'll link to that. Awesome. It's cool. Yeah. So what are you doing here?
So
what's your talk about?
Yeah, I'm talking about.
You are talking.
He's talking right now.
But I'm talking about discovery projects.
Okay.
And really, like a couple years ago.
What does that mean?
So I'll go get there. So we decided that we've been running our studio for almost 10 years, and our projects have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And one of the really interesting things that happens is there's a lot of risk in estimating and figuring out what to do for clients.
Right.
Like so much risk because what they want after a 30-minute phone call is for you to tell them how much it's going to cost and you to be right. And
that better not change.
No, it better not change. And I think that, doing estimates for software projects, like upfront with little information is impossible and it's really irresponsible to the client. So what we started pitching and we started doing several years ago now is we actually started doing and pitching discovery projects to take the biggest risk out of software. And I think the biggest risk out of doing software projects is building the wrong thing.
Yes.
You can waste more money and more budget and for zero value building the wrong thing. And it's so easy to do based on what clients will tell you what they think they want instead of what they actually need because they're human. So we have to go through and learn and do some work together to figure out, to make sure that the first thing that gets built is the right thing.
So I see where you're going with this. So you do discovery projects with your clients before you even actually do the estimate. So you're pretty much doing an research and an MVP almost in a way, like, but an MVP on paper, right?
Yeah, because if you want an actual accurate estimate, you really need to understand their business. You really need to understand their goal, which they're not going to come to the table with.
No, and you got to understand all the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that's so important is to get the opinions of all the stakeholders, and that includes asking the all-important question of who's against this project, who doesn't want to see this succeed.
Ooh,
because you need to get them on board and figure out what their needs are. And there is always sometimes bad actors, right? People who are actively working against things, but most of the time, it's people that have been ignored or really have needs that the business needs to fulfill that haven't been able to because they're lower on the totem pole or they don't have the political clout or whatever. But just talking to them and asking them what they need does so much.
And what about going to decision makers right away? Because you might have a lot of influencers that you're conversing with and you're getting alignment from and buy-in. But what about that buy-in from those decision makers? Like they might put a project forward and say, this is what we're going to do. Great. But before you get to that estimate part, do you need to get that buy-in and alignment from those decision makers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the biggest things we've seen come out of doing discovery projects from a business point of view for us is, some of our projects are, $500,000 plus projects. And to get somebody who we've never worked with before to sign on the dotted line to an estimate that both of us realize can't be any good for $500,000 is nuts. And you have to, and usually at that price point, you have to go all the way to the top to get that signature, right?
That's
the person who has the $500,000 approval is a VP or above who is disconnected from the project sometimes. So with discovery projects, we're actually able to sell at a much lower price point to get started, to get a better estimate, to get some experience, to get some trust working with each other, to make sure we de-risk and build the right thing. And usually the person who has that budget approval is much lower and much closer to the project.
Right, and you could use that as a tool to sell the project to that that CEO, that VP.
Have you discovered that doesn't work during the discovery project phase that, hey, this isn't going to be something we can do or it's not going to work?
Sometimes, but often, like, we have hit that. But the cool part about that is that it actually allows us, because we can have real conversations about scope and budget and constraints and timelines, to tailor something that actually could fit those needs.
Yeah.
So one of the crazy things is I'm sure that, I know I've been in a situation where a client shows up, they give you a list of everything they want. You say, well, wow, that's huge. That's
the world.
That's this price. They look at the price and say, well, obviously you're not a good fit for us, and they walk. And that's nuts because like building web things and web software is like building a house. I can build you a 2,000 square foot house for $150,000, or you can spend $3 million on it, depending on the finishes and all the things that go into it.
Yeah.
So if we understand the problem you're trying to solve and the constraints that you have, we can actually tailor build something around that.
And don't you think, too, that's a little bit of communicating what those technical and actual needs are back to them? Like, they might not understand their needs exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they have an idea in their head of, hey, we need A and we need B, but you bring it back and you go, yeah, you might need B, but you also need X, Y, and W.
That's right. It's all the hidden requirements or the implied requirements that go into that.
Yeah, and I feel like doing the discovery phase, like you guys are, like your talk, allows you to actually say, hey, just with a house, like these moldings, these fittings, in this case, these development processes and functionality cost as much, and you have a clearer understanding of what that is and can communicate even better to them beyond, hey, we need a website that sells stuff.
Yeah,
that's not enough. Like, there's a lot more to it.
And one of the things we constantly say to our clients is two things. One, we want to work with you, not for you. We want to be partners with you. Yeah. And the second is bring your problems, not your solutions. We're the experts at building these things, and if you give me the chance to solve your problem, I am really creative about, and so is our entire team, about using technology to do cool things to get your business need met that you may not be able to see or envision, because we do get to do this every day.
Yeah.
But if you come with a solution in mind, I can only really do it one way.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to my mechanic and say, hey, you know, I hear this funny thing in my engine. I think we need to change all 4 of my tires.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Who's going to take care of my Toyota Corolla? Me or, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So
fix my Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I have an engineering degree, but it's computer science, so I'm good.
Damn.
Awesome. So have you done this talk before, actually?
Yeah, this actually started out as a workshop.
Oh, really?
This is a half-day workshop. Okay. I did it at Owner Summit this year for the first time in February, and I'm actually doing it at a Digital Project Manager Summit coming up in September again.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it's a whole half-day workshop with exercises and the whole thing. It's a condensed version of that because I think I'm going to try to do it in 45 minutes a day, which was like a 4.5-hour workshop. So,
and I know a lot of the talks at your at Sparkbox kind of come from a genesis of a blog post and then writing a few different things about it because you guys are your culture is really about writing things down and communicating out to everybody. Did it kind of start that way? It actually germinate with that?
Well, I'm probably the odd one at Sparkbox. I'm not a big writer. It started like this whole thing started several years ago because I was trying to solve the business problem of some of the things I explained about like wanting to make sure that we were solving the right problems and not getting in trouble and really setting expectations correctly about how we like to be worked with so that projects went better. And by doing this, we were able to like get past some of those growing pains at the beginning. So once we started doing this, we started seeing the results and everything changed as far as our sales process to sell leads instead of projects, which was a pretty big mind shift from a biz dev point of view.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So as I was talking to peers and other people about what we were doing, like everybody like was glued and was like, well, tell me more about this. What are your deliverables? Like, how are you doing this? What, why?
It's funny because it seems like it would be such an obvious thing to do, but it's not. It doesn't happen, and because I think a lot of it is that
people are scared.
People are scared to do that because they're afraid of what the response will be from their clients. And I know from working at an agency, a lot of it's just like, we need this client, we need this money from this client.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, what you could. You could try to say like, oh, let's go ahead and sell this project for $100,000, or before we do that, let's jump in and get our toes wet for about 20 and see if there is a good fit for not only this client for us, but for us for this client, and what, as you said, an actual authentic partnership.
Yep. But I think what you see what happens after doing these for a while is you see the budgets actually go up from your initial gut because you discover the dragons you have a month to figure out where the dragons are and actually be able to explain back to the client in a trusted relationship where their dragons are, instead of saying, no, there's a big scary number. Trust me, I don't really, like, we've talked for a half hour. Like, there's no trust there yet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, like, you know, so anyway, I was telling everybody. Yeah, I was telling everybody. No,
was this your idea?
What, discovery projects?
Yeah, doing this.
You know, it's one of the funny things about working at Sparkbox is it's hard to tell whose ideas are whose anymore.
So that's a yes. That's a yes.
He takes full ownership.
No,
from Sparkbox is
I totally don't. There is so many great people who have helped put this together and make this happen.
Your team, I get it.
We've got an entire team of great, smart people, and I think that's how you know what valuable collaboration is when you can't recognize whose ideas aren't anymore. So, you know, I helped do the work of taking all that stuff that we've learned and put it into a workshop, and now this talk, but I still had team help with that. I mean,
did you get confused if you're wearing your pants or someone else's pants every morning?
No.
I do that with Brian all the time.
I only fit in my pants, so I'm good. Like,
whose shirt is this?
I mean,
do you like Brian's shirt? By the way, that's Brian's shirt with Brian on the shirt.
Oh, that's very meta.
Yeah. Yesterday I went to the CodePen meetup. I had on my badge with my name and an arrow pointed to this, so it's kind of like Inception with like an arrow pointed to me.
That's great.
So you wore that shirt yesterday too? Is that what you just
everybody? I washed it last night.
Okay. This is me. This is me. I'm gonna blow people's minds.
Yes, exactly.
Brian, I guess. Who's that Brian guy? Very handsome.
Multiple. I just have like arrows pointing down and up. And
just one straight back. It's kind of.
We're all wearing our swag. Frederick has Thunder Nerd. Sparkbox, which by the way, came up with the logo.
Our creative director, Jeremy Lloyd.
Jeremy, beautiful logo, dude.
Good job, Jeremy.
Genius.
Yeah. Ask for more money. Sorry.
He's good. He's really good.
Don't ask. All right, great. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for talking to us. You got any?
Oh no, I'm just good luck in your talk.
Yeah,
fantastic speaking with you.
Yeah, nice meeting you guys.
Yeah, you too, man. Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Rob.
All right. Bye.
Keep watching, everybody.
Hey, guys.
More coming up.